is where the heart is, and here at the home of the Fresno State Bulldogs, those hearts are beating fast and furious with anticipation. The big boys have finally come to the Valley. Wisconsin has taken the challenge. For years, Fresno State has played the role of road dogs with a mighty bark. Now they get to let loose in their own backyard. We welcome you to Bulldog Stadium, a matchup that can determine the season for both of these proud programs. Number 10 Wisconsin facing number 21 Fresno State. Hi everybody, I'm Joe Tessitore and I welcome you to college football primetime. I know all week long all that Hollywood sizzle and the bright lights down in LA have gotten a lot of attention with their game. But for those in the know, this is one of the most anticipated games of the young season. Fresno State has always played the big programs, but yet they're saying this one's the biggest of them all. Coach Pat Hill said this earlier this week. He said, "This is the biggest game at Fresno State since I have arrived." Many others who have been a part of the program say, you go back further, it's the biggest home game in school history. Let me bring in my partner, Rod Gilmore. And speaking of big, well, Wisconsin is just that. Wisconsin size against Fresno speed. Is that really what this comes down to, Rod?
No question about it. I was down on the field before the ball game. This Wisconsin team is huge. You look at their offensive line, big. Their tight ends, their running backs, they are tremendously big, and it plays to their style of power football. Now, make no mistake about it, Fresno State, they want to play physical football, but it is speed that they have at the skill position. Their defensive line, fast and quick. Speed versus power, that's what we have tonight.
Now, we do have senior quarterbacks in this game, but big discrepancy when it comes to experience between Allen Everidge and Wisconsin, Tom Brandstater at Fresno State.
Yeah, there's really no comparison. You start with Brandstater, who's a 3-year starter, knows how to take care of the football, has done that very, very well. On the other hand, you're talking about a guy who's a redshirt senior who's starting on the road for Wisconsin for the first time. Can he handle this environment? We don't know. They don't know. It'll be fun to see.
The moment has arrived. For years, they've said anyone, anytime, anywhere. Now that anywhere doesn't matter. It's right here at home. The doghouse is rowdy. The stadium gets its first ever meeting of top 25 teams, and here they come. Moments away from kickoff, and the injury status of Wisconsin All-American tight end Travis Beckum has been a concern. Let's check in with our field level analyst, Ed Cunningham. Ed, what do you got?
Joe, thanks for having me. First of all, Travis Beckum suffering from a hamstring injury during camp. He didn't go the first 2 weeks. Watched him during warm-ups. They were not going full speed, so we couldn't really tell if he was going to be 100%. He looked fine in blocking drills, etc. But I think as the game wears on, we'll get a better look at that hamstring and how it holds up. Now, another injury was Jonathan Casillas, a great linebacker. His first game tonight back from a knee injury. He's wearing one of the biggest braces I've ever seen anybody wear, and he looked like a player who is not quite mentally over a knee injury. He was a little tentative, especially when they were doing run game drills before the ball game.
And that's coming from an offensive lineman, Rod, who knows a thing or two about wearing knee braces. Here's Pat Hill, who's been waiting for this moment, been frustrated that Pac-10 teams avoid a visit to Bulldog Stadium. Been in this spot before, defeating 13 BCS conference teams over the last 7 years. You see they rank just behind Utah in that category of beating the BCS conference teams. And of course, opposite Hill, one of the best young coaches in the country, 38-year-old, former defensive coordinator, rose up to head coach, Brett Bielema. Well, Wisconsin won the toss, and they will receive. Kevin Gessling to kick to David Gilreath. And Gilreath from a few yards deep in the end zone. And he's out to the 25. So the Wisconsin offense is known for its running game. Last week, senior quarterback Allen Everidge found himself. He went for over 300 yards against Marshall. And you see the Wisconsin offensive starters listed across the top of the screen. Rod, a unit that's well protected by an O-line that averages 6'6", 319.
Yeah, big offensive line. That's an old school offense. No spread here. They really like to pound the football as much as possible.
The steady P.J. Hill gets the call. And Hill is out across to the 31-yard line, taken down by Akina Ike.
It's a big offensive line, experienced running backs, very big, 3 big, talented tight ends. They love to get into the ball game at the same time. And as I said in our opening of the show, when you're down there on the field and looking at this offense, you're just struck by the size of that offensive line and the tight ends. Really big.
They are big up front. And they are well skilled with the running backs and, of course, the tight end position. Hill, the lone back. That is Beckum coming over to the near side in motion before settling in. And Hill gets the call again, and he is wrapped up immediately by Nico Herron. That is a 1-yard loss.
Well, in that Fresno State defense, you see the lineup at the top of your screen. It is a quick defense, a fast defense. They will be outsized by Wisconsin, and they're a little thin at linebacker because of injuries, but the strength of that team, defensive backs, and the speed that they have on the field and the quickness.
So Allen Everidge in a tough spot on the road here, faces his first 3rd down. Beckum in motion, 3rd and 5. Everidge goes to his All-America tight end. He reached up for it, was unable to bring it down.
And that is the kind of start Fresno State wants to have. They want to dictate when Everidge throws the football. They want him in 3rd and long. They want him to have a little lack of confidence. Normally a catchable ball for that outstanding tight end. Mr. Beckum.
So a 3 and out. And Brad Nortman, freshman punter, on for the Badgers. Marlon Moore back deep for Fresno State. Going to let it bounce. And it goes out of bounds at the 29-yard line. 42-yard punt. Fresno State has the leadership of Tom Brandstater. He goes 6'5", 225. Told us he knows the type of physical game that they need to play, and that his job is to keep the troops intense. You know, I think this atmosphere, this crowd's going to help a little bit with that, Rob.
Yeah, he told us yesterday he's got to be cool. He knows that the crowd will be loud, and he's the right guy for that. I saw him a couple of years ago when he was a sophomore. He struggled, had a real tough time. He overcame that last year, and he's now settled into being a leader.
You see the Bulldog offensive starters scrolling at the top of your screen. They got a Barrett tight end who we're going to talk a lot about tonight. Brandstater, incompletion for the senior to start the game. Smart guy, graduated the summer before his junior season. He's been working on his master's since then.
You see the Wisconsin defense at the top of your screen. That's a front 7 that's really, really good. They may have the fastest set of linebackers in the Big Ten. They are very athletic. Pat Hill says he remembers playing Wisconsin back in '01. They didn't have linebackers with this kind of speed.
Ryan Mathews, the lone back here on 2nd and 10. Mathews had an outstanding opener against Rutgers. Taken down by Jason Chapman.
Take a look at the impact players for Fresno State. They really have some guys in their offensive backfield who can get things done, starting with Ryan Mathews. You may have seen him, about 10 days ago. He had a big game against Rutgers. He's outstanding. But he's not the only one back there. Lanye Miller, he is an explosive player. He can go all the way on one touch. And that Bear that you mentioned, that's Bear Pasco. He's about 6'5", 260. They have to figure out a way to handle him on 3rd down and in the red zone when you're close to the end zone.
Now here's an opportunity and a challenge in front of that Wisconsin defense. Can they handle the Bear on 3rd and 6? And that is complete, but short of a first down for the fullback Isaac Kitker. Jay Valai in on the play defensively. So both defenses in a game where the expectation were that we were grabbing 2 offenses that could do some damage. Both defenses show up early.
You're absolutely right. And not a well-thrown ball here. You want to throw that swing pass to where your receiver catches it in stride. He doesn't have to stop or turn around. That's a difficult way for him to try and make a guy miss in one-on-one.
David Gilreath Very capable return man for the Badgers. Back deep to get the Robert Malone punt. Gilreath, all Big Ten punt returner a year ago from his 15. Gilreath trying to get that edge. Couldn't stay on his feet, had a few blockers in front, but was able to get it to the 33, an 18-yard return, so the Badgers will be back on offense. Stay with us. Welcome back to Fresno. Scoreless early on here in the first quarter. Wisconsin offense back out on the field. And when you talk about Wisconsin, you always talk about running backs, right?
Yeah, you start with P.J. Hill, a couple of seasons, over 1,000 yards, but he's fumbled the ball in the first 2 ball games. How is Travis Beckum? Going to see how that hamstring is after a few plays. And Garrett Graham is waiting. He's a big tight end. He's been the go-to guy with Beckham shelled for the first 2 games.
2 3-and-outs to start this game for each team. Here's Hill now. And P.J. Hill is smothered under again by middle linebacker Ben Jacobs. He's a junior from Stockton, California. And he was looking forward to this challenge. Hill. This time he shakes loose. And P.J. Hill still fighting his way all the way out to the 48-yard line. A 13-yard gain, finally taken down by A.J. Jefferson.
Let's figure out what we've been doing all week, looking at the Wisconsin team and what they need to do in this ball game. And we know size is an advantage. Use it. Go big. Use that run up the middle at them. And if you watch the fullback, you'll notice that they like to run the ball with the fullback. He takes you to wherever the play is because he's a great blocker. And defensively, we've talked about them handling Bear Pasco, the tight end for Fresno State.
Little Rod's research that you cooked up this week. Watching film in your basement, I like it. Everidge now. That is incomplete. Good defensive play by Sherrod Davis. Isaac Anderson, the intended target.
You know, they didn't get anything out of this. A really nice play out there by Pleasant coming in with the left hand. But I like that Wisconsin threw the ball on first down. I mean, that's a way to get Everidge comfortable where he can throw against a manageable secondary where there aren't 5 or 6 defensive backs on a third down. Let him throw it on first down every now and then.
Hill the lone back on 2nd and 10. Here's P.J. Once again, plenty of running room, and once again, another first down taken down by A.J. Jefferson, but an 11-yard gain.
Well, we talked about the size advantage up front. Well, if you run straight at them, you can use your size. So they're running straight at them, making those quick defenders play in a very small space. Nowhere to go. You put your big body on them and push them out of the way. That's working for Wisconsin on that play up the middle.
So Hill doing damage early on. 5 carries, 30 yards. Everidge now. Plenty of time and able to get it to Beckum. And Beckum is down inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. A 20-yard gain, and that is the dimension that Travis Beckum brings to this Wisconsin offense.
He can really stretch the field. He's on the right side. He fakes a block and he drags across the field. You see him right there. Now he's right there. Nice, wide open. They missed him on the block. And he adds that dimension. He can get deep. He can get one-on-one with the safety, and he has an advantage. He has an advantage over a linebacker. He's a tremendous tight end.
3rd all-time in Wisconsin receptions. P.J. Hill. And Hill once again doing damage right up the middle. And he's close to another first down. Marvin Haynes was finally able to undercut him.
Just watch your middle linebacker right there. Look at that block. That's a big body right on him, on Jacobs, and he had no way to get in there. As long as he's getting a 300-pounder on him, that's trouble. And you're just looking at a real big old block there. That's John Moffitt, the center at 325, making that block.
John Moffitt from Guilford, Connecticut, who's a sophomore, and they think he's got big upside. Here's Hill again, trying to fight his way inside the 10-yard line. He was eventually wrestled down by Chris Carter.
All right, partner. As I told you, I was down on the field. Now, this offensive line, we talked about it being big. It's huge. It's really big. I mean, what? Their smallest guy is 6'4"?
Their smallest guy is Moffitt, and he's a monster. The tackles go 6'8", 301, and 6'7", 324.
Your smallest guy is 6'4", 325. Are you kidding me?
They grow him big in Wisconsin, and they put him to good use. First and goal for Wisconsin now. Hill once again trying to shake loose inside the 5 and push forward to the 4. Mark Roberts on the tackle for the Bulldogs. But you can see the Badgers offense. They want to run downhill all night long.
You think about the size of that offensive line. That defensive front they're facing, they've got a couple of ends that go at about 260, 250. And then you have your linebackers, 225, 235. You're facing guys that are 70, 80, 90 pounds heavier than you.
Zach Brown in for Hill now. Brown had some room, and Brown is down to the 1-yard line. Marvin Haynes came up again from his free safety position for the tackle.
What was it Pat Hill told us the other day? He said, you know, if you see P.J. Hill going up the middle, that's a problem for us. We don't need him going up the middle.
Been a problem on this drive. Zach Brown will stay in at tailback here. 10th play of the drive. Wisconsin has scored 11 touchdowns and 14 red zone trips this season. Here's Brown. Ball is loose. And Fresno State says they have it. Let's see what the officials say. Fourth down.
I'm a little surprised that Brown got that ball, considering P.J. Hill has been the workman on this drive, and they've had trouble with him. Brown, who's not as big as P.J. Hill, takes a big hit there. And that's a good call by the official. He was hit, stopped, and his knee was down.
Fourth and goal, and P.J. Hill is back in. Not gonna get there. Ben Jacobs, the sophomore middle linebacker, coming in defensively. And oh boy, what a statement for the home team.
Wisconsin wanted to make a statement about, you want to play physical? We'll show you physical. And Fresno State answers with, we got some physical football players of our own. Ben Jacobs, only 225, slips around to the outside, beats the fullback. On that play, it was Bill Rindmeister trying to get the block, and he wasn't able to get it. And Fresno State with an impressive goal line stand right off the bat.
Bulldog defense with a little bit of bark. Still scoreless in the Valley. That's the Madden Library here at Fresno State, set to open in January at the tune of $102 million of renovations. I'll tell you, not much work in the library going to happen this fall if this team keeps playing the way they've been playing. What a goal line stand to open up this game. Fresno State now backed up against their own goal line. Here's Ryan Mathews looking for some breathing room. Not finding much of it with Matt Shaughnessy hauling him down. Now let's... Thanks, Wendy. 2nd and 9. Brandstater is going to air it out into who else but his big target, Bear Pasco. 21-yard gainer there.
Just a seam right for the big tight end. He'll come right up the gut, right up the middle. You'll see him working against the linebackers, and safeties get right inside. That time he managed to get around the big linebacker over there, Casillas, who's got the knee brace on, who wasn't able to stay with him.
Wanye Miller now the lone back. He's very capable. Got banged up a bit against Rutgers, so it limited his work. And Miller this time is wrapped up. And you saw Mike Newkirk just forcing his way into the backfield. And that's a 4-yard loss.
You see, he just slips his block and doesn't get picked up there, by Joe Bernardi, who's playing center. And Bernardi was a late addition to the starting lineup along with Devon Cunningham. They had a couple of injuries to their left guard and center, so you've got Bernardi, a surprise starter, and Devon Cunningham also a starter.
So Newkirk takes advantage. It'll bring up a 2nd and 14. Harding now flanking Brandstater. And Anthony Harding gets the call, only able to shake free just short of 35. Jonathan Casillas made the tackle, and Casillas coming back from a sprained knee back in that Wisconsin line.
One thing Pat Hill told us this week, Casillas, he said, he's a great player. He wasn't sure exactly what kind of shape Casillas would be in. And they were going to test him. They were going to find out what Casillas was able to do. They wanted to get him in space, see if he could cover guys in space, and if he's in football game shape, since he hasn't been out on the field for a couple of weeks.
So a 3rd and 12 for the senior quarterback, Brandstater. They bring a little bit of pressure. That's knocked up into the air, and it is hauled in by DeAndre Levy.
This ball is tipped up, and he goes after it. I was surprised that Bobby Lepore, the tackle to his side, doesn't try and knock the ball down. Instead, he tries to tackle Levy right off the bat.
Big man getting his paw up there.
That's Shaughnessy again, but again on the other side of this play, look at that. He doesn't go after the ball. Instead, he starts to make the tackle beforehand, and it's a big turnover for Wisconsin.
Badgers ball when we return. Matt Shaughnessy moments ago tipped a pass. Tom Brandstater led to a DeAndre Levy interception. So now Wisconsin back to offense. They were able to move the ball well last drive, but they were stopped on a 4th and goal at the 1. Everidge being pressured. Shakes loose. May have crossed the line of scrimmage, but nonetheless, he is able to get it complete. And that was a 21-yard pickup to Garrett Graham.
Once he got out of the pocket and stepped up, he had plenty of time. Now, does he cross the line of scrimmage? Oh, he gets awfully close there, but he lets that ball go just before getting across from that angle.
Wow, that's as close as it can get.
Absolutely.
So right back to where they were in the red zone. 1st and goal. Hill. Not much room at first, but then able to dive forward and gets it to the 2. John Monga got a piece of him.
But remember, we were watching tape this weekend. We were talking about the fullback, how much they rely on the fullback to give key blocks. Chris Presley was the fullback on that play, and Hill followed directly behind him. It's one of your keys. If you're a linebacker, you're looking and you're reading your guard and you're reading to the fullback. Fullback's going to take you to the play. He's going to show you where they're going more than 90% of the time.
Being led by 6'1", 260-pound Chris Presley. That's who's in front of P.J. Hill. Everidge has time and has his man again. Garrett Graham, touchdown. So Everidge to Graham works 2 times and wasting no time. Badgers on the board.
Well, he comes from the right side. You'll see he's right in here. He's going to get lost in there. He comes from the right side. Everidge waits for him to get up and come across wide open. He faked like he fell down. No one could see him.
Philip Welch on for the extra point. And after being denied on 4th and goal, they turn a turnover into a quick 7. Wisconsin up. There is Garrett Graham, who now has a touchdown in every game for Wisconsin so far in this young season. The interception by DeAndre Levy set it up. And the Badgers up 7-zip early on here. Philip Welch to kick off. Jefferson and West back to return. This is Jefferson. Jefferson's very fast, and you can see that quick burst. That puts Fresno State out in front, 32-yard return. So Brandstater back out after that interception last time out on a tip ball, and Ryan Mathews can't get anywhere. Once again, Levy in on the action. Brandstater 2nd and 11 here. Crowd is quieted after that Wisconsin score. He has time, and he has his target, Raynard Camp. And the big fullback is trying to fight his way towards a first down. It's actually Vince Pasco who came into the game to play fullback there. So it's a pickup of 11 there. So a first down to close out the first quarter. Badgers, turnover becomes 7. They're up on the Dogs here in Fresno. Fresno State trying to prove they are no jokers when it comes to BCS talk. One of those teams talked about as a BCS buster this year.
You know what the Joker would say?
What would he say, Rob?
Do I look like a man with a plan?
Well, I'll tell you, the offense needs to get a plan for Fresno State. 1st and 10, Lanye Miller the back. Here's Brandstater. And Brandstater has that complete and looks to be good for another first down. And that is complete to Sheye Ajera-Tutu, a pickup of 11.
Well, you mentioned what they ought to be thinking about doing as a plan. And Ed, I know you're down there in the sideline. I sense a lot of macho-ness in the offense for Fresno State. Maybe it's time to start spreading out a little bit.
Yeah, that's the first play, Rod, that we've really seen them walk away from the line of scrimmage, and it was a first down. So they need to start doing that. Playing in a phone booth right now has not worked for Fresno State offensively. So let's see if they keep spreading them out some. I think that's what they're going to have to do against this physical front of Wisconsin.
So Fresno State looking to answer after Wisconsin was able to score coming off the turnover. Mathews, this time nothing doing. Matt Shaughnessy into the backfield and wrapping him up.
Ryan Mathews.
Again, pretty conservative play calling for Fresno State right now. And they've got some guys on the outside who can make plays. And they're trying to get Mathews started. This is just a fullback lead. Little ISO play to the left side, and that's bread and butter for Wisconsin. They're big, tough inside. They see that every day in practice.
Miller back in and tailback. 2nd and 10. Brandstater, a little play action, and then rolls to his right. Lots of time, goes over the middle. It was incomplete, intended for Marlon Moore, but he was well covered on the play.
Yeah, Brandstater made the wrong choice. He wanted to come back across the middle to Moore, and actually, he said he had Ajera-Tutu to the outside open. He had single coverage and ran a comeback, and that was the guy he needed to go to. And Ajera-Tutu, look at him. He's open. He's wide open. He's running the comeback. He's like, what are you doing? Come on. Give me the ball.
Ajera-Tutu is a big target at 6'3", and Rutgers knows that very well, as he was able to convert a critical 3rd and 23 in that opening game. So now a 3rd and 10 here, and Anthony Harding comes in. They're 2 for 4 on 3rd downs. Brandstater out of the gun. That was tipped again, and that time it falls loose. But Matt Shaughnessy, his 2nd batted down ball of the game. 6'6" senior from Norwich, Connecticut, and he's a real issue off the edge here.
Well, he has such presence. He's such a smart player. He recognizes when he's not getting there, he just gets his arms up in a hurry, knocks his thing down. That's tremendous play, tremendous presence.
Kevin Gessling for a 47-yarder. Stayed off to the side. So Fresno was able to move the ball a bit, but couldn't score. Wisconsin still up 7-0. Joe Tessitore, Rod Gilmore, and our field level analyst Ed Cunningham with you here in the Valley. Fresno State, they call this the biggest game in the program's history. Number 10 versus number 21, and number 7 right there. Brandstater would like to get rid of that 0. That's on the scoreboard. Wisconsin back to business on offense. P.J. Hill, he had a big hole. Actually could have waited for his blocker, but forced himself forward for a 7-yard gain.
P.J. Hill's had a lot of success tonight, primarily up the middle. I mean, his interior line, bigger and stronger than Fresno State's defensive front, has really just opened up some big holes for him, and he's just pounded his way through it. Fresno State wanted to make sure they pushed him to the outside. But that hasn't happened tonight.
B.J. Hill, the junior from Brooklyn Poly Prep back in East Elmhurst, New York. 2nd and 3. And this time he is swarmed underneath by Michael Stewart. Stewart originally signed with USC out of high school. He redshirted there, then came here to Fresno State.
And Ed, I'm curious from your point of view down there, that interior line, those guards and centers, are they still dominating but for that play down there?
These guys, Rod, I'm really surprised at how athletic Wisconsin's big guys are. That time, though, Stewart got inside. It was an inside stunt. Let's see if Fresno State keeps moving the defensive line, because I don't think they're going to be able to go toe-to-toe for 4 quarters.
Well, here's a 3rd and 6, which means we see the arm of Everidge, and it is bobbled at first, but then it is indeed complete to Garrett Graham. And Graham is a heck of a tight end, a 17-yard pickup. Everybody talks about Travis Beckum, the tight end in Wisconsin, but Graham is as good as many we see across the board in the country.
Yeah, and Graham is deceptive. He can get down the field. He's just not as fast as Beckum, but he's been the go-to guy the last couple of weeks. And you see it right there. I mean, he's a big target. He hangs onto the ball. He creates a mismatch inside as well.
So a 1st down just across midfield for Wisconsin. Zach Brown into the game now as the deep back. Everidge to pass on 1st down. Lots of time, and that is incomplete. Was intended for Gilreath.
Too hot. That had too much mustard on it. Everidge had plenty of time. He just smoked this ball. Watch Gilreath come across the middle. Runs a nice route against man coverage. Come back to the ball. Look at this thing get on him now. Whoa! Hot and a little bit behind him.
A lot of people were wondering how Everidge would handle this kind of a spot on the road, hostile territory. Had a big game last week, 308 yards, the 12th best passing effort in school history, but that was against Marshall at home. This a different setting, 2nd and 10. Hill back in at running back. And they're going to swing it out to Maurice Moore. And Moore has another 1st down for Wisconsin. Alan Everidge, the senior from Nebraska, but he's been well-traveled throughout his college career. Started things off at K-State. Actually started 6 games, then transferred, spent time as a backup. And of course now out there as the starting quarterback for this loaded offense of the Badgers.
It tells you he hasn't played a lot of football in the 5 years he's been in college.
Three receivers, 2 to the top. B.J. Hill. And Hill still chugging ahead, close to another 1st down. And Ed, that is the surge that you're talking about, because he wasn't touched until he was a couple yards in.
And the offensive line for Wisconsin, you know, a couple of guys that they talked about when we met with the coaches. Gabe Karami, the left tackle, is just blowing people off the ball. That time Munga was knocked about 6 yards off the ball. Munga listed at 280, but remember Pat Hill said he's more like 255, and he's having a hard time when they're coming straight at him.
Well, they look like they're on skates out there.
He was 4 yards of a gain before he was even touched by a Bulldog player. Hill. Another 1st down. Pickup of 3 for P.J. Hill.
Well, Ed, you know, when you see the defensive linemen turning their backs, yeah, they're getting pushed back like they're on skates, and you've got a middle linebacker that's 225. He's no match for a 325-pound center.
36-pound average is the difference per man from the offensive line of Wisconsin that you see there to the defensive line of Fresno State. John Mongo goes 280. He's going up against 315 and 325 opposite him. And big John Clay now into the backfield for the Badgers. Clay gets the call. And Clay, not much there. A flag is down. The ball is loose. Wisconsin able to recover, but the refs will sort this mess out.
Holding. Offense, number 74. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
Bill Athan, referee from the WAC. John Moffitt.
Yeah, they got Moffitt with a takedown right there in the center, right there. He's getting the takedown.
So it'll make for a 1st and 20 now. Fresno State defense, remember early on, they were bending but not breaking. And now they're looking for a big play. And some pressure on Everidge forces the incompletion. Looked like Mongo was able to get in there.
Well, and that's the approach. You know, you want to get Everidge into passing situations, you know, and see how he handles things. Will he recognize blitzes? Will he recognize coverages? Can he take a hit? This is Mongo gave him. I found it interesting that Everidge left Kansas State. You know, keep in mind, he left like 9 months after the season ended, after he'd been a starter. Bill Snyder retired as the head coach.
Coaching change there. You never know how things shake out.
Exactly.
2nd and 20 now, and all of a sudden, Bulldog Stadium comes back to life. Everidge. This time, plenty of time, and this time a completion down to the 23-yard line to Maurice Moore. A.J. Jefferson had coverage. That's a pickup of 14. Going to leave him short of the necessary yardage.
And a very nice sign for Wisconsin to get their receivers involved. This is a tight end-oriented passing attack. But now, when you get the receivers involved, it starts to open up everything else, including the run game. Fresno State's trying to play man coverage out there so they can commit more guys to the run and not worry about the receivers. You start completing passes to the receivers, they're going to have to back off of that run defense a little bit.
Star tight end Travis Beckum comes in here on 3rd and 7. Zach Brown. Brown trying to shake free. Brown unable to do so. Just a 3-yard gain on the play. So a good stop. Marvin Haynes coming up and making the tackle.
Pat Hill wants his team to be tough, and I get that, and I think his defense is playing tough. I just think when they get the ball back offensively, they can't play tough, we're going to run it at you. They've got to do something a little bit more finesse-oriented.
Philip Welch from 38. And he puts it through. So Wisconsin tacks on 3. Badgers shutting out the Bulldogs 10-zip. Now let's join Wendy Nix and Robert Smith in the studio for the halftime report. The big showdown in the Valley. Symmetry for Wisconsin. They got a 10 in front of their name and a 10 after their name. The problem is the 21st ranked Fresno State yet to score. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. A well-hyped game. A game with a lot of meaning. A game with very little offense. But what offense there was, it came from P.J. Hill.
I tell you, Wisconsin had to play big. They were playing big in the first half with their big offensive line, and then the big running back behind that big offensive line, P.J. Hill. Huge holes as the small defensive line got washed out, and P.J. Hill had a big first half on the ground. Made a big difference in this ball game with his ability to run that ball right at Fresno State. None of this fooling around, just pounding right at them the entire first half of this ball game, and so Fresno State's got their hands full with trying to figure out how to slow that down.
Well, what are they going to do offensively? Because there was not much that we saw in the first half that gives you hope. Okay, they can do this, they can do that.
Well, they got to change their philosophy. I mean, they struggled in the first half, and it all began, you know, when they gave up a turnover here, trying to throw the ball. Shaughnessy knocks this up. Levy intercepted. That's a short field. They managed to score a touchdown by getting Garrett Graham in the back of the end zone. And I think Fresno State, if you look at their stats, you say, gee, 13 yards rushing, 80 yards passing. They have got to stop being so macho. They have to spread the field and use their speed. They haven't done that in the first half.
Yeah, why play right into Wisconsin's hand? The power versus power didn't work out. We'll see if Fresno State opens it up, tries to get to the edge, make this a vertical outside game here in the second half. Wisconsin to kick. Philip Welch back deep. Weston Jefferson, but this is over their heads, and it goes for a touchback. All right, you set up Rod's research early on, and where's it paid off?
Well, take a look at Fresno State, and, you know, we spend time looking at what they do well and all that good stuff. Use your speed. No, they didn't do that. Attack the cornerbacks. No, they didn't do that. You know, force P.J. Hill outside. Nope, didn't do that. But they did manage to do that one thing, big plays on special teams. They did block a kick right before the end of the half. But They haven't used their speed. That's their advantage. They need to do that. Spread the field a little bit, create some mismatches.
And here they come with Wiley, and Wiley has a lot of room, and Wiley able to get it out for a big gainer, finally forced out by Langford. But Wiley all the way to the 47-yard line. That's a 25-yard pickup.
A little reverse, a chance to let them use their speed. And Ed, we've been talking about this. We talked about it over the break, about what Fresno State can do with their receivers.
And Rod, we have not seen since really that first drive for Fresno State deep routes by Ajir Tutu, more guys who have this speed. I know they like moving the ball with Wiley around the line of scrimmage. Let's see if they start trying to get down the field. Looks like they have solo coverage here on the right side of the formation.
Here's Miller. They go back to the middle, and that does nothing. That is a loss of 3 as Jason Chapman. But Ed, how would you be managing the offensive play calling for Fresno State to get back into this?
Well, I think that they have to start trying to get the ball down the field. Even if you don't throw the ball, the safeties have to start believing you may try. Because right now, the safeties for Wisconsin are all up around the line of scrimmage. So even when they get a little crease for Mathews or one of those guys, it closes quickly because the safeties don't have to do anything.
Well, and Ed, even if you're playing zone, at some point zone becomes man-to-man if you run a deep enough route.
After the loss on first down, they go back to the ground with Ryan Mathews right off a would-be tackler, a stiff arm, and Mathews crosses midfield to the 47, a 7-yard pickup for Ryan Mathews.
Ed, you mentioned Ajir Tutu out there, and I've seen Wisconsin on tape struggle at the left cornerback spot. Deep balls, Marshall went after them a lot, and it would seem to me they would take a shot out there in that area.
Yeah, and that was the thing that Marshall proved, I think, to a lot of people watching the film is you are able to throw the deep ball. Wisconsin made a change at a cornerback position coming into this game. So, Rod, I'm with you. A little surprised that we have not seen more deep balls, and you've got to think you're going to see one eventually.
Ajir Tutu to the near side, split wide, and this is a crossing pattern, and it is complete for a first down and more. Here goes Wiley, breaking loose, and into the end zone. Bulldogs right back in it. Gessling's extra point caps it. And just like that, quick strike, catching that seam, putting on the speed, and we got a field goal difference. That's it now. Good football comes with happy fans, and finally something to be happy about. Devon Wiley with the 47-yard touchdown catch and run. And the Bulldogs are right back in this game in what is such an important game for both programs. Wisconsin took the challenge. They came to the Valley. And now Fresno State wants to make a dogfight out of it. Here's Gilreath. Gilreath gets past that first wave and out to the 27-yard line.
All right.
What a throw! Touchdown!
In a battle of ranked teams here tonight, number 10 versus number 21. 13 times in the last 7 years they've taken out a team from a BCS conference. But can they knock off number 10? P.J. Hill. And Hill gets 4 of those yards back.
Well, if you're Wisconsin, that's what you want. You want to take the crowd out of this and go back to what worked for you in the first half. I mean, that interior of the offensive line, the 2 guards in the center, they dominated the first half of play. P.J. Hill was able to run the ball inside. You can do that and be physical, take the crowd back out, and create a short third down situation for your quarterback.
Everidge. He tried to dump it off to Travis Beckum, the tight end, right at the line of scrimmage. That fell incomplete. 3rd and 12.
And now the games begin. You've got 3rd and 12. You've got a quarterback who hasn't seen a lot of different coverages because he's only played, it's his 3rd game this year, and he played in 6 games as a starter for Kansas State as a redshirt freshman years ago. And so now you're going to see a lot of different stuff. You're going to come after him, show him different coverages, and he's got to deal with the crowd noise.
Yeah, gonna hear this now. Bulldog Stadium, they've waited for this moment, this kind of opponent in a spot like this. 3rd and 12. Everidge has time and has his man, but it looks to be short of a first down. It was complete to Gilreath, but a couple yards short of a first down.
I tell you, Gilreath, though, is growing up tonight as a receiver. And he's running crisp routes, he's making catches. He didn't get the first down, but he is starting to show that he could be a key receiver for this Wisconsin offense. And that's a nice route, nice catch. He just couldn't keep his feet to pick up the first down.
Sherrod Davis was able to get a claw in there. So it'll bring on Brad Nortman to punt for Wisconsin. Marlon Moore saying, get away. Oh, that hit a Fresno player. Ball is loose. Wisconsin thinks they have it, and they do. Looked like A.J. Jefferson was not aware of the bouncing ball, and it was costly.
Yeah, and Marlon Moore was trying to tell him to get away. He was waving his arms and yelling, get away, get away. But it was a bounce, a ricochet bounce. The ball bounced back and hit the shoulder pad of A.J. Jefferson.
So Pat Hill needs his defense to step up one more time after they've done well here in the second half. And big John Clay is now the running back for the Badgers. Hurdles the first defender, and Clay is able to get it inside the 20, a pickup of 4.
Well, that play is essentially a turnover. We had one in the first half that gave Wisconsin a short field. They went 45 yards, touchdown pass to Garrett Graham. They've got a short field again. Do they break out the tight end game again? If you're Fresno State, that's what you think about. You think about Graham down here.
John Clay goes 237 pounds, and he's in front of a 260-pound fullback. It gives you a sense of what you think Wisconsin's going to try to do here. They're going to try to do right that, just run over people, and that's what Clay does for a first down.
What was it that Mark Snyder, the head coach of Marshall, said after the game?
Took away our manhood.
Wisconsin took away our manhood. And Wisconsin loved reading that quote. And that's what they want to do to Fresno State. They want to send a statement about what physical football is.
Marvin Haynes just got run over by Big John Clay, and now P.J. Hill is back in as the featured back. P.J. Hill now. And Hill just able to get a few. Bottled up after a gain of 3. Nico Herron was in on the tackle for Fresno State.
I tell you, partner, there is no more helpless feeling than to be out there defensively and have a team run the ball right at you. And they run it right at you, you can't stop them. You feel helpless. Ed Cunningham knows about that. He used to run over people and do that.
A field level analyst in the trenches for many years. Won a national title in Washington before having his NFL career. Now he's watching an offensive line of Wisconsin take control. Option. Everidge. And Everidge stretches out. 3rd and 5. Graham in motion. Everidge. Ball batted, and it falls incomplete. Good defensive coverage by Damian Owens. Intended for Jefferson.
What a nice play by Owens. I mean, his responsibility is to make sure he doesn't allow the receiver to get inside. And he does a great job of using the off arm, the left arm, to get around and knock that ball off. Look at him. He fights to stay inside. That's a great job.
Philip Welch on to attempt a 23-yarder. Last time was a 50-yarder that was blocked. And Welch puts this through. So they were able to turn the turnover into 3. Today we found out that number 1 very much is number 1 as USC cemented themselves.
Yep.
But this is the game. When you look at the slate of games this weekend, a lot of people were saying all week long, I don't think that Ohio State-USC game is going to be competitive, and it wasn't. This is the game that people were saying 2 top 25 teams are going to meet up, and it's going to be highly competitive. Well, and right now, just a 6-point margin.
It's an elimination game. Fresno State loses, they forget about busting the BCS. If Wisconsin loses, they can forget about being a BCS team.
Undoubtedly.
Well, you know, they not a national champion. They could still win the Big Ten. But if they want to play at the Fiesta Bowl in January for all the marbles, they can't lose this game.
Jefferson. And Jefferson, flag comes in late. He's able to get it to the 29-yard line for the Bulldogs. 24-yard return.
During the return, holding. Receiving team number 55. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's starting linebacker Nico Herron. 2nd and 10 out of the gun for Brandstater. Looking to set up the screen, and he does. Ryan Mathews, blockers in front. First down and much more. Pushes away a defender. And here goes Ryan Mathews. Cuts back to the inside. And Fresno is knocking on the door. 60-yard gainer for Mathews.
And this play is made by a great block on DeAndre Levy. Right here. Number 11. He gets blocked out of the way by Bobby Lepori. And Lepori opened up that play out there by that block. And then it was simply Mathews off to the races on the screen pass.
1st and goal. Mathews testing that left side.
To the 7.
That fumble overturned. Opportunity knocked. Fresno State looking to burst through the door.
2nd and goal.
And Anthony Harding will check into the game at running back for the Bulldogs. Tom Brandstater, the senior who's been through the highs and lows, looking for one of the ultimate highs here at his home. Pressured and put down. O'Brien Schofield, a 9-yard loss. Schofield, a very athletic player. It's in the family business, a cousin of Bobby Ingram and the Dolphins defensive lineman Vonnie Holliday.
Great job by Wisconsin. Pressure from the right side, outnumbering. But on the other hand, if you're Brandstater, you have to understand field position here, and you can't take a sack.
And it looks like Devon Wiley has injured that right leg, and one of the key targets for Brandstater. So a 3rd and goal now from the 16. To the end zone. Overthrows a Giratutu.
They were working on the nickelback Mario Goins that time. They got the matchup they wanted. This just comes a little hot. You see Goins out there covering him. He was the one who had been at the cornerback spot, the left corner spot, and had trouble, and they replaced him with Niles Brinkley. Fresno State was looking for that matchup. They got it, but the ball was thrown too high.
Gessling now from 33, and he puts it through. So the replay went their way, as did the 60-yard screen pass, and they get 3 out of the deal. Von Wiley, who sparked things for Fresno State with a 47-yard touchdown reception to get them on the board. Now banged up. Gessling to kick here. Final moments of the third quarter. Gilreath from his 1. Gilreath able to get out to the 28. 26-yard return. We are here in Fresno, in the Valley, in what everybody has said is the biggest home game there has ever been. I'm Joe Tessitore in the booth with Rod Gilmore. Our field level analyst is Ed Cunningham. 10 seconds to go in the third, and number 10 is in a battle with number 21. Wisconsin looking to get out of the hole here and take momentum back. P.J. Hill, stiff arm, now squares up and taken down short of a first down by Damian Owens.
P.J. Hill.
8-yard gain for Hill.
23-yard line by Damian Owens.
20-0 under the young coach when leading after 3. And now the 4 fingers go up, but can they stay that way? Fourth quarter coming your way from the Valley. Stay with us. Welcome back to Fresno, where the Badgers have a 13-10 lead. Number 10 against number 21, and right now Wisconsin facing a 2nd and 1 to start this fourth quarter. P.J. Hill, little misdirection. P.J. Hill, a first down, Wisconsin. Rod, let's talk about how we've arrived at this point.
If you missed it, here are the key plays. A goal line stand by Fresno State to start the ball game. Got the crowd riled up and things going. Wisconsin came back. Shaughnessy tips the ball that Levy catches as an interception, which led to a touchdown. And then a punt actually bounces off of A.J. Jefferson of Fresno State, sets up a field goal for Wisconsin.
Western. John Clay now gets the call on the right side of the line. That's a pickup of 2 for the big freshman. Comes from Racine, Wisconsin, same hometown as NBA Caron Butler.
And that is classic defense for Fresno State. That's what they want to do. They want to clog the inside and force P.J. Hill, force Zach Brown, force John Clay to bounce to the outside. They bounce it to the outside, have their strong safety or their linebacker clean it up. They don't want those big backs running behind the center and the guards.
Zach Brown now the lone back on 2nd and 8. Everidge, plenty of time, going deep. Well off the mark for Kyle Jefferson, and there is Everidge. Looks like maybe cramping up there. We saw this earlier at Cunningham.
And watching earlier, every time Everidge came over to the sideline, he's in a lot of pain right now. Every time they came over to the sideline, he was drinking electrolytes, and they were working on his hamstring. He even, that one time we saw him come up gimpy, I believe it was cramps in his feet. And right now, and you guys know this stuff does not go away, 13-10 right now. Kind of need this quarterback. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And you can, listen, the thing with electrolytes, if you don't get them before the game, they're not going to get digested. Your stomach shuts down while you're exercising. I don't know that this is going to get better for Everidge.
Ed, you're absolutely right. We've both been there. This happens. Once you start getting cramps like this, you're not going to get rid of them that same night.
So will they have to turn it over to Dustin Shear, the backup? Stay with us. It is getting interesting in the Valley. This was the scene moments ago. That leaves them with Dustin Shear in at quarterback, facing a 3rd and 8 and a Rowdy Road Stadium here at Fresno in a tight one in the fourth quarter. Trying to set up the screen. Zach Brown. A little bit of running room, trying to stretch out for that first down. It's going to depend on the mark. A.J. Jefferson with the tackle.
And right before that play, Ed Cunningham and I were talking about what do you do in this situation if you're Wisconsin. And I said, yeah, you run the screen. I think we both were in agreement. You throw a screen pass, and defensively, you look for it.
And Rod, I was surprised that Fresno State brought pressure.
Yeah.
I really was, because if you're thinking screen, sit back and read it. They brought all kinds of pressure, and Shear did a great job. They come up just short, but a little shocked at Fresno State bringing pressure, because we both agreed it was going to be a screen.
Absolutely. You don't bring a guy in, ask him to throw the ball down the field in a situation like that.
They are punting. That was only the second completion in the career of Dustin Shear. Fair catch for Moore. So 7:42 to go in the game.
You know, and Ed, as I look at this game, if you're a defensive player facing Wisconsin, I think your thought process is, hey, the quarterback's not going to win the game for him.
Fresno's ball when we come back. We welcome you back to the Valley, where number 10 and number 21 are playing one right down to the wire. Fresno State's ball. Brandstater. He has time, and he has it complete. And that is over to Moore. Joe Tessitore alongside Rod Gilmore. We've talked all night about the setting of this game. They've said it's the biggest game in school history. Why? It's like a little mini playoff within itself, Rod.
Yeah, absolutely. Wisconsin, they need it. Fresno State really needs it. They can't get to the BCS without a major win and staying undefeated. They can't afford to lose the game. Wisconsin, similarly, they need to stay undefeated if they have a shot at getting to the BCS championship game.
2nd and 1, and Brandstater wants it all. Oh, boy, right on the numbers of a Tutu, but he was unable to hold on.
Oh, we've talked about the matchup in the left cornerback spot. Here's Niles Brinkley, the left corner, staying with Tutu. And that ball is there. He just doesn't come up with it. Wisconsin has had trouble with deep balls the first couple of games. Fresno State has not taken shots. This is the first time we've seen them take a shot at the left side deep, and they had it out there, but Tutu could not come up with it.
That was 6'3" versus 5'10", and it came up empty for Pat Hill and the Bulldogs. Ed Cunningham, what should we look for here?
To me, right now for Fresno State, they're spreading it out, but I would not be surprised if you get some type of run. They've spread it out, maybe something up the middle here. It's something they've been trying to set up all night.
Mathews, he's got the first down, and he's still on his feet before he is taken down at the 33-yard line by Carter and Langford. A 10-yard pickup for Mathews and a fresh set of downs for the Bulldogs.
And Ed, I think that Wisconsin defense, they feel the game is on their shoulders. I'm sure with their quarterback being out, their mantra right now is we control the game.
You know, and it's funny, Rod, we all try to talk about, well, every player is important to the team. You know what? The quarterback is different, and it does affect the defense. Now they know we've got to stand up and make a play with our starting quarterback in the locker room.
Mathews again, and he is bottled up front by Jason Chapman.
And I'm surprised to see Fresno State, Ed, go right back to the run game there. They still have an opportunity to get those mismatches in the slot position.
You know, and Rod, one thing that we have been talking about a little bit, we talked about yesterday in the meetings, Doug Nussmeier, first-year offensive coordinator. It's a 4th year in a row that they've had a new offensive coordinator here at Fresno State, and Nussmeier has never called plays in the college game. He's been at the NFL game as a quarterback coach, did coach in college, so he's still trying to figure it out. But I agree, keep mixing it up. Don't go back to the same run that you just picked up the first down on. Keep mixing it up. I'm right along with you, Rod.
Brandstater, that is complete to Tutu. And Tutu looks like he has enough for a first down. Offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier. He was a star quarterback at Idaho, one of only 3 quarterbacks in college football history to pass for over 10,000 yards and run for over 1,000. McNair and Culpepper, the other 2. He knows how to do it. Just a little new to calling the plays here for Fresno State.
Yeah, this is only game number 2. Keep that in mind. They played Rutgers, and now they're playing Wisconsin.
Miller stays in as the lone back for Brandstater. And he gets that stretch handoff that took a lot of time to get to him. Looking to make a move, and he does. Somehow turns it into positive yardage.
Wow, Wisconsin had this play smelled out. They had the numbers over there. They had enough white shirts. And watch Miller keep his balance. Casillas comes over. Levy's there. They've got everybody there, but Miller is so explosive and has great balance, he's able to make something positive out of what should have been a loss.
There are the coordinators, 4 and 4 years here at Fresno State. Easy to play call, though, when you get individual efforts like that out of Lanye Miller. So a 2nd and 5 now. Mathews back in. Brandstater with time and with an open target to Ryan Skidmore.
Ryan Skidmore with the reception.
And they're going to mark that ball down right on that first down marker.
Skidmore is another one of those big targets who's about 6'5", and he knew exactly where the marker was, parked himself over there, turned himself around, and showed his quarterback a big target, all 6'5" of him.
We are under 4.5 minutes to go. The home team trails by a field goal in what they're calling the biggest game in school history. Now they got to come up big in a pressure spot. Mathews. And that time nothing doing as Jay Valai made a very fine tackle there. So Tom Brandstater, MVP of the Humanitarian Bowl, win over Georgia Tech last year. A much bigger prize on the line this year. Could it be the BCS busting Fresno State Bulldogs if they can get past top 10 Wisconsin? That is complete to Bear Pasco. And it'll bring up a 3rd and long.
Wisconsin brought Levy from the outside. And that forced Brandstater to get rid of the ball a little sooner than he wanted. He had his receiver out there, but he had to let it go soon because of the pressure.
They have used up a lot of clock. We are under 3 minutes. And now a 3rd and 10. So as time ticks away and the chances become fewer and fewer, this is a big one. Brandstater pressured and taken down. That's a fine play by DeAndre Levy, who's had himself a big game.
I tell you, he is an awfully quick linebacker. They didn't account for him. He manages to get in, and he gets there because of great coverage down the field. You see here, number 5, Marlon Moore, running a crossing route, but he gets picked up by McFadden, the middle linebacker, and then on the other side, no one's open there. Alan Langford does a nice job on Ajiro Tutu.
So now Wisconsin with a chance to put this game away. Gilreath gonna let it go over his head, and it bounces at the 1. Can Fresno State get on it? How about that? 51-yard punt, and they're able to pin him deep. So just under 2 minutes to go, and Wisconsin is going to be pinned up against their own goal line.
And keep in mind, they have their backup quarterback in, taking snaps, essentially in his own end zone. And right now, Fresno State, the #1 issue is make sure you play tough inside. Wisconsin, the #1 issue, secure the football. You cannot turn it over down here with a quarterback that hasn't been in the game only for 1 play.
Alan Everidge is coming back into the field of play. He left on a cart. He comes back jogging.
Who is he, Superman? Look at him.
They need that veteran leadership in a spot like this. It is Dustin Shear, the backup quarterback, with P.J. Hill, and they're just looking for some breathing room. There is Everidge. You know he wants in. Wisconsin, been a long time since they lost a non-conference game. Timeout taken here by Fresno. and they're in position to hold on and win what would be a very good non-conference game in a team that's well respected.
Well, remember, Wisconsin got a lot of heat for not having a challenging schedule. You know, they weren't playing another BCS team non-conference, and Brett Bielema has been telling everyone all week, hey, wait a minute, Fresno State is not a pushover. They're
Absolutely
a top 25
not.
team. You know, it should count in our schedule that we're stepping out playing a tough team. And he's right. This is a good Fresno State team.
By the way, Pat Hill says we don't have a Pac-10 team on the schedule for the next 8 years, and that's ridiculous. So he gives a lot of credit to Wisconsin for keeping things here with this contract and keeping the game right here in Fresno. Oklahoma State and Texas Tech canceled on coming here in the past. You come here, you're in for a fight. 2nd and 8. Line to make is the 11-yard line. The fullback gets the carry right up the middle, and still pushing forward is Bill Rentmeester. Very close to a first down. Timeout, Fresno State.
600 pounds of a double team to the right side of your screen. At center, John Moffitt, and left guard Andy Kemp. 325 and 315 respectively, followed by a big 250-pound fullback.
That's a first down.
And that's Wisconsin football.
Minute 44. Fresno State out of timeouts.
Here comes Everidge is not coming in. He's got his helmet on. He's trying to plead his case.
Well, he wants in.
There,
he wants
no
to take a victory snap now.
Well, Fresno State is out of timeouts. Wisconsin can run out the clock. They should be able to run out the clock now. $1:44 to go.
And Shear's going to take just a few extra steps back before he takes that knee.
Remember, you have a 40-second clock now, one of the rule changes, not a 25-second clock like in years past. If you had a 25-second clock, you wouldn't be able to run out the clock here.
That's a new rule this year, NFL-style 40-second clock between plays, the play clock. And you can see the faces of the Fresno State players. There were some missed opportunities tonight. Just a little slow to get going. Game didn't come alive until the third quarter for them.
And it's not like Fresno State didn't have their chances. Kicking game, they had a couple of field goals that were certainly makeable, and they missed them. Chances to tie earlier in the second half, and they missed both field goals, which had they made them, they'd be up right now.
Gessling missed a 47-yarder, a 51-yarder, a 35-yarder.
And only the 51-yarder was one that was not really makeable. We saw him kick a 63-yarder in warm-ups, but the 35-yarder that he missed, that's the one that really hurt the Fresno State fans.
Give credit to the Fresno State defense. I mean, how much more can you ask than holding the Wisconsin Badgers to 13 points, but give a lot of credit to Wisconsin for coming into a tough spot, a challenge that a lot of programs avoid, and coming away with a good, solid, strong win.
What a great job, great performance by both squads, but I echo that. Give Wisconsin credit for coming out here playing Fresno State when many other programs would not do so, for the very reason that they're an awfully tough team to play.
The BCS Buster is busted. Our final score is 13-10. Wisconsin takes it. For Rod Gilmore and Ed Cunningham and our entire crew, I'm Joe Tessitore. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your night. Badgers take it 13-10.